Welcome, and thank you so much for tuning into our White Christmas Watch Party. I'm Cassie Ziegelbauer, and I'm the Events and Communication Coordinator at the Weill Center. White Christmas is one of our most popular holiday favorites to show at the Weill Center. And of course, due to COVID this year, we are not showing it. But this year, we are so excited to be partnering with the Sheboygan County Historical Museum for a virtual community watch party of this Christmas classic and to chat with you all throughout the movie. I'm so ready. I have my gingerbread coffee mug and I have my white Christmas sweater on. But before we dive into watching the movie from our respective homes, we have a special opportunity to learn about how this classic film was created for many generations to enjoy. Seider, the program director from the Sheboygan County Historical Museum, is going to take us on this behind-the-scenes journey. In addition to being the program coordinator for the museum, she's an avid film buff and historian. She has brought her passion to her job by introducing the Outdoor Movie Night series, a popular monthly summer event that features a classic film and a presentation of the history behind the film. Chloe, take us back in time to learn about this extremely popular holiday classic.
Well, thank you so much, Cassie. I am really excited for this opportunity. As mentioned, in addition to being the program coordinator, I am a classic Hollywood history enthusiast, and I am full of fun facts. Whenever friends and family watch an old movie with me, they are bound to learn a lot along the way because I just can't help but share. So tonight I invite you into my living room to enjoy this movie with me and to learn all about it before we get started. So for those of you who watch Turner Classic Movies and enjoy the TCM host intros, this is your SCM host intro to tonight's film. We'll be watching White Christmas from 1954. Switch over to my screen here. All right, so the film was directed by Michael Curtis, who was considered to be one of the best directors in Hollywood and actually had won the Academy Award for Best Director of Casablanca. This film featured an all-star cast of Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, Vera Ellen, Mary Wicks, and Dean Jagger. This Paramount production was extremely popular, selling out across the country, and it became the second biggest film of 1954. The score for White Christmas, including its title song, was composed by the legendary Irving Berlin. This was not the first time we have heard the song White Christmas, though. Berlin actually wrote it in 1938 and played the song for Bing Crosby, who saw it could have some potential. Well, clearly it had a lot of potential because it became an instant hit and has sold millions of copies over the years. It became especially popular during World War II as a very sentimental song for our troops. Crosby was very involved with the war effort, helping to entertain the troops and sang this requested song very often. This is actually reflected at the very beginning of White Christmas, the film, as he's singing for his fellow troops. Bing Crosby stars in White Christmas as Bob Wallace. Crosby was an incredibly popular recording artist and crooner. He was considered the voice of Christmas due to the popularity of his Christmas albums and later his TV specials. Crosby was also a really established actor at this time. He had already appeared in 76 films since 1930. It's a lot of movies, including his very popular Road 2 films that he made with his good friend Bob Hope. We first hear Berlin's song White Christmas on the screen, not in White Christmas, but actually in the popular 1942 film Holiday Inn, co-starring Fred Astaire. The song won an Oscar for Irving Berlin, who is actually the only Oscar presenter to open an envelope to announce the winner and read his own name. Paramount was hoping to recreate the success of Holiday Inn 12 years later with White Christmas. And the song wasn't the only thing that they actually brought back for it. The set that was used in Holiday Inn was reconfigured and reused to become Columbia Inn in White Christmas. So when you watch the film, look for the really distinct windows and you'll see exactly what I mean. They were also hoping to bring back Fred Astaire as well, but Astaire was once again considering retirement and declined to do the film. But retirement didn't last long for him because he was actually still making films until 1968. He was replaced then with Donald O'Connor, who had just successfully worked with Bing Crosby in the film Anything Goes, but he unfortunately became ill and was unable to continue on. So finally, the role was offered to Danny Kaye. Kaye was a theatrical renaissance man. I mean, he could do it all. Radio, television, film. He was a talented comedian and singer and dancer and had become one of the biggest stars of the 1950s. Irving Berlin was absolutely thrilled to have Danny Kaye in his movie, even if he was the third choice for everybody else. Kaye was also a passionate person for children. He wanted to use his popularity and celebrity status for good, and he actually became the first Goodwill ambassador for UNICEF and helped raise millions of dollars for children around the world. Playing the lovely and equally talented sisters that the men fall for in the film are Rosemary Clooney and Vera Ellen. Vera Ellen was considered to be one of the best dancers and female dancers in Hollywood, and she really shines in this film. She started dancing at the age of 10 and actually carpooled to dance class with another future star, Doris Day, who's one of my favorite actresses. Ellen quickly mastered every type of dance, and by the age of 18, she became one of the youngest Radio City Rockettes and began performing on Broadway before becoming a sensation in Hollywood. And although she plays the younger sister in the movie, she's actually 7 years older than Rosemary Clooney. In fact, there are all sorts of crazy age gaps between the actors. Bing Crosby, who plays Clooney's love interest, is actually 25 years older than her. Oh my stars! That's a big age difference. And Dean Jagger, who plays the retired elderly general, was actually a few months younger than Crosby. Go figure. Rosemary Clooney was 26 when she made this movie, which amazes me because I'm 28 and she seems so much more sophisticated than I am. And it became her breakout role and led to a 7-year contract with Paramount, actually. And she can thank Bing Crosby for helping her get the job. He wrote a letter to Paramount recommending her, and the letter said, quote, "I found this dame who can sing a good song and is personable. I think she'll work out." Well, she certainly did, and she and Crosby became very good friends while making the film. They remained close until his death. In an interview, Clooney said their friendship was the most important thing to come from making the movie. Since both actresses had their own areas of expertise, they helped cover each other's weaknesses. Obviously, Vera Ellen was a fantastic dancer, so she helped Rosemary Clooney, who couldn't dance, learn her routines. And although you hear her sing in all of her films, Vera Ellen actually was always dubbed. So the voice that you hear in White Christmas is Clooney singing for both parts. Listen really closely when you watch them sing Sisters, and you'll realize that Clooney is actually harmonizing with herself. The only time that you can hear Ellen's real voice is in the quick reprise of Snow when they get off the train and reach Vermont. Speaking of music, recordings proved to be complicated. Unfortunately, Clooney was under an exclusive contract with Columbia, and the soundtrack rights for the film were controlled by Decca. So in 1954, Decca released an album that featured all of the cast except for her. Columbia tried to release an album of Clooney singing 8 of the songs from the film to counter this, but it just wasn't the same. And neither was the Decca release because it was Peggy Lee replacing Rosemary Clooney in it, and she was famous for the song Seider. Bing and Clooney would later re-record some of the songs that they sang together in the film and release them on albums that they later collaborated on. On to the production of the film. The movie was filmed in VistaVision. It was the first to ever use this technique, actually. VistaVision was designed to compete with the growing popularity of television, which Hollywood had sorely underestimated. They thought it would not catch on. So VistaVision created vivid color and clear widescreen images with high resolution, which was a big contrast to the black and white and small screens of television. The high quality of VistaVision shows off the beautiful costumes designed by legendary designer Edith Head, who won 8 Academy Awards for costume design during her career. One of the best examples of her work in the film is actually during the song, "The Best Things Happen When You're Dancing." She made sure that her attention to detail was so precise that the socks and the shoes were the same color as the suit that Danny Kaye is wearing, so that the line moving through the body while dancing wasn't broken up by color, thus making a more pleasing aesthetic. Along with famous people working on the set, they had many famous guests on the set as well. This included royalty, actually. After they wrapped filming the last scene, which includes the title song, the King and Queen of Greece arrived. So the crew and cast were forced to pretend that they were still filming and redid the entire number. But there was a pretty big problem. Crosby, who was famous for loving his golf game, had already left for the course. So you could hear his voice coming through the pre-recording, but his body wasn't there to sing along. It was, I'm sure, an eyebrow-raising moment from the royal family. Now, before we get ready to enjoy this movie, I would like to point out a few more things for you guys to watch for tonight. When they show the picture of Benny Haynes, the Haynes sisters' brother, he might look a little familiar to you. The so-called dog-faced boy was actually a grown-up Carl Switzer who played Alfalfa in the original Our Gang, or also known as Little Rascals. He's also in another Christmas favorite that you might have seen. In It's a Wonderful Life, he plays the disgruntled high schooler who opens up the floor, which has the pool underneath at the dance, to get back at Jimmy Stewart for stealing the affections of Donna Reed. Then later in the film, during the song "Love You Didn't Do Right by Me," you might see a young dancer accompanying Rosemary Clooney who also looks familiar to you. And that's because in a few years, George Chakiris would win an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor as Bernardo in West Side Story. And finally, I'd like to mention one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie. It's the reprise of Sisters. This really funny scene where Bob and Phil pretend to be the Haynes sisters so they can help them out of a jam wasn't actually originally written into the film. Danny Kaye and Bing Crosby were goofing around on set, and the director thought it was so funny, he wrote it into the script. But when they did the actual recording of it, Kaye felt that Crosby was taking it too seriously and needed to lighten up. So he started whacking him with his feathers. So the laughter you hear coming from Kaye and Crosby is actually genuine. And the laughter you hear from the audience is genuine too, because Kaye and Crosby were improvising the whole thing right then and there. There are just so many things that I love about this feel-good movie, and it is one of my absolute favorite Christmas movies, and my family watches it many, many times, even when it's not Christmas. And I am excited to watch it all with you as well. And I hope that it leaves your spirits lifted as you start dreaming of a white Christmas.
Oh my gosh, that is one of my favorite scenes from the movie. I just adore that scene, and it makes that scene even so much better knowing that it is completely genuine and not planned. I love
I love
that.
it. So great.
Yes. And I have also such a special place in my heart for White Christmas. I actually was in the Sheboygan Theater Company's production of White Christmas back in 2011.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was like just in high school, I think. Hence the White Christmas sweatshirt. But yeah, I even had to learn to tap dance, so that was interesting.
Impressive.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, so thank you so much, Chloe, for that exciting presentation. And I'm so excited to watch this movie.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Cassie. And thank you to the Weill Center for partnering with the Sheboygan County Historical Museum for this special virtual event tonight. I love that showing White Christmas has become such a tradition at the Weill Center over the years. And in fact, one of the first dates that my husband and I went on here in Sheboygan was to go see it there. And yeah, it was so special. It was such a special experience, and I just adore watching classic movies in a theater filled with people who are enjoying it just as much as I am. So tonight, even though we can't be together to watch it in person and to share in the laughter and smiles, we encourage you to use the comment section of this video. So head down below and don't navigate away from this video even when you start watching the film, because we want you guys to be able to discuss things with each other and comment and share about, your favorite quotes, your favorite scenes in the movies, songs, even your favorite outfits. There's so many great outfits in this movie. And you know what? Share some of your favorite movie or memories of this movie as well. Or if you're watching it for the very first time tonight, tell us what you think, because I definitely want to know. Cassie and I will both be eagerly reading your comments and discussing things right along with you. All right, so now we've got a few minutes before the official watch party begins. So here's how this is going to work. If you own a DVD, Blu-ray, or VHS copy of White Christmas, don't be embarrassed if you do. I still had my VHS up until about a year or two ago, so I still have a number of VHSs. So you guys can go get that and queue it up in the machine. Otherwise, you can go to Netflix if you have your Netflix account. White Christmas was recently re-added to their collection, so you can head there now to prepare to stream it. Another option too is if you would like to rent the movie, it is available for rent on things like Amazon Prime, YouTube, and other streaming services. But don't press play just yet. If you have it ready, go make yourself a cup of cocoa, grab some popcorn. Yep, exactly. Grab some popcorn, some Christmas cookies, turn on all of the Christmas lights around you, maybe light the fire, and then get ready to cuddle up on the couch to watch this movie. But then at exactly 7 p.m., we will all collectively press play. So synchronize your watches then for Operation Watch Party.